Hey, this is Hannah Stonehouse Hudson, your friendly grieving consultant, I guess you could call it. Basically, sane grieving. There is this odd expectation that we're all going to go into this gently, and it's weirdly, people who've not lost a spouse are weirdly romantic about the entire thing and think that things follow a crazy progression of the stages of grief, and it takes you like a year to get through things, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I am tired of people, widows, getting to the second year of grieving and being hard on themselves because they think they should be farther along in the process than they are. This could not be further from the truth. The second year of grieving for anyone who has lost someone is usually the hardest. For widows, it can be extremely difficult for a variety of reasons. One, the nice covering on your brain, for lack of a better phrase, that helped you numb out the first year that your significant other is gone. It's no longer there. It has gone away. And the way that we were able to kind of space out and just deal with things and get life going. And one of the reasons people would sometimes say to us a couple months after our spouse is gone, wow, you've really, you've gotten through things. You're doing so well. Good for you. Well, most of the time it's because we're totally numbed out and we're just going through the motions and going through life. The second year, that nice protective film on your brain, that does not exist. And so you're feeling things a way harder than you were previously because the shock is kind of worn off and you're just getting through it. The second thing is, we, as widows, as grievers, think that we should be farther along in the grieving process than we are. We are not kind to ourselves. We are not kind to ourselves, which ends up making it even worse because we get upset and then we get mad at ourselves because we are not basically over what has happened to us. And so we get on ourselves and then we're disappointed and then we get mad because we don't want to have to deal with this and we can't believe we have to still deal with this. And, you're going to be dealing with this for years. It really truly does get better because it just becomes part of your life. Grieving just becomes part of your life and you work through it and you work through the emotions. But you have to get through that second year to really feel like you can process some of these things. Because the first year you don't feel a lot of what's going on. The second year you do. And you can't be hard on yourself. As difficult as it is to not tell yourself, get over it, get through it. I've got to get through this for my kids. I've got to get through this for my new significant other. Because honestly, a lot of the time, we are both loving someone new, but still working through what has happened to us. So we feel this guilt because we're still grieving what we've lost and we're celebrating something new. So we have those two things going on. So one, the protective covering is gone the second year of our brain. Two, we are not kind to ourselves because we truly believe that we should be farther on. And three, other people seem to think we should be further along than we are. And by other people, I do not mean mental health professionals. I do not mean other people who've been through what we have been through. I'm talking about well-meaning family members or close friends who have not gone through losing traumatically a spouse or someone who's very close to us. I come from my experience of losing a spouse. So that's where my my knowledge comes from. So the third reason that the second year can be very difficult is because well-meaning people who are close to us truly believe that we should be farther along than we are, when in fact that couldn't be further from the case. So how do you explain to well-meaning family members and friends who say things like, well, it's been over a year, so do you think you really should be this upset? And they might not come out and say it. The thing you need to do is realizing that they have no depth of experience. We don't necessarily want them to have the same depth of experience that we do. And the best advice I've ever heard is to physically see a brick wall between you and that person. Because they are well-meaning, but you cannot internalize what they're saying. Because they don't know that the second year is hardest. They don't know that you basically were just existing the first year and getting through it because you did mentally have a nice fog. We call it the fog of grief. Widow fog, widow brain. It gets you through it. The second year, you're not going to have that. So be kind to yourself. It will get better. It will change. You will get through it. But don't be surprised by the second year being so difficult. But also don't take to heart what well-meaning, loving friends and relatives have to say about you needing to be further along. Even if you just sort of hear it in passing that they're saying this. No. See, if you even have to see a brick wall in between you and that very nice, kind person, so that stuff doesn't hit you, so those comments don't hit you, it will be much better. Just be kind. Be kind to yourself. That's all I can tell you is you will get through it, but you have to be kind to yourself. You cannot judge yourself for these things. It is the hardest thing that anyone will go through. And it will get better. It might not be what you want for your life, but I promise you, it will not hurt as much. It will not. You have to get through those moments where you don't have the protective brain fog. And unfortunately, that's usually the second year. It's usually when you think you should be getting through it quicker. And it's when other people think that you should be getting it through it quicker. Rely on yourself. Rely on a mental health professional to help you get through. Don't listen to other people necessarily. Listen to your heart. You know what's best for you. And I have been there. Many of us have been. And I wish the best for you.